Hi there. Welcome to the From Lab to Launch podcast by Qualio, where we share inspiring stories from the people on the front lines of life sciences. Tune in and leave inspired to bring your life-saving products to the world.
Welcome to another episode of From Lab to Launch by Qualio, where we look at the innovations, teams, and leaders shaping the future of the life science industry. I'm Meg, your host, and today we welcome not one life science entrepreneur, but two. Today I'm thrilled to talk to husband and wife dream team, Laurie and John Masiello. The Masiellos have been launching and scaling life science companies together since 1984. After merging their first company, Masi Bioservices, with the North Carolina CDMO in 2021, the Masiellos struck again, forming Predictive Monitor in 2022. Their debut product, Overshield, combines IoT sensor technology with AI and data analysis to offer a powerful early warning system for controlled GMP chambers, from freezers to cold and stability rooms. The couple's mission centers around harnessing Pharma 4.0 technology to maximize equipment uptime, improve operational efficiency, and protect life-saving biopharmaceutical products. Laurie and John, thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm happy to be here with you and to connect with your audience.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, you're our first married couple we've had on From Lab to Launch. Tell us about your story. What came first, your business relationship or your personal one?
John and I met in driver's ed when we were 16. We've enjoyed working together on all kinds of projects, including that very first one in our house, in my house.
In her house, yes. We built our first closet in Laurie's bedroom when we were 16 with the permission of her parents. And many projects since then, along with building our first home, our family, and then
we started Masi Bioservices.
What was the biggest problem or gap you were looking to address when you formed Masi Biosciences first?
Well, in Masi, we stored customer products in freezers, refrigerators, warehouses, etc. And we realized traditional GMP monitoring was not good enough for the products that we were storing in there. It would report on failures, and it wasn't enough. We wanted to know what that early warning was before the failure.
Right. Anyway, some of the monitoring systems out there only provide alarms and notifications for prescribed limits when they were exceeded. And the alarms prompted all hands on deck. You had to deal with it, and then you had to have immediate containment issue dealing with. So, and product, like you had to deal with product moves, both required extensive documentation, CAPAs, out of tolerance investigations, non-conformance reports, and in addition to potential product losses. So it's tough dealing with that.
Yeah, very costly things to deal with and time-consuming things to have to deal with. Can you take us
beyond that?
Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Yeah.
So beyond that, it could be life-saving drugs that we're storing in there. And now you don't have those products coming to market in the time that they should be there.
Yeah, that has a big impact on patients waiting for those life-saving drugs. Absolutely.
Many.
Yes.
Can you take us behind the scenes of how you turned your initial concept into a real product? What was that journey like for you?
Well, again, the world started with Masi for us, but while we were at Masi in 2015, we actually created Predictive Monitor. It was a product that we used just to not just monitor the chambers that we had. People have traditional monitoring systems. It was beyond that. It was to give us those early warnings. At the time, very rudimentary, very manual, lots of hand-holding, but it was better than everything else that was out there.
Yeah, and back when we sold Masi, we brought back the technology. We had several dedicated, caring, talented team members, believers, and the next generation was spawned based on customer feedback.
So there's what we thought we needed at Masi for our needs, and then once we brought it to real customers, their needs were slightly different, and so whatever we started at Masi, we then changed it significantly with Predictive Monitor as a new company.
What is the ROI of spotting and detecting potential chamber weaknesses early? Is it a case of an ounce of prevention versus a pound of cure?
The pound is an interesting word because we would say it's a ton of cure, not just a pound.
Yes. Traditionally, preventive maintenance was time-based systems, as we're well aware. For example, if the PM was scheduled for annual PM, and there was a failure prior to the PM, then the standard risk CGMP risk-based practice would be to pull that time frame in to 6 months, and that would impact facilities, operations, and financial bottom lines.
But with Predictive Monitor's overseal solution, we changed that from time-based to data-driven maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer about the calendar. We can perform the maintenance totally based on what the data tells us.
I love that data-driven approach to monitoring, like so important. Can you tell us about some evolving trends in pharmaceuticals and predictive analytics? What do you see coming down the pike in those regards?
The difficult part is the industry layoffs, and we have seen them in so many different companies. So now we're realizing there are less senior and experienced folks there to maintain those chambers. So as a service provider, they need our services to provide that targeted maintenance. The staff isn't there anymore to provide the daily look at the chambers and to fix the things again on their time-based schedule. So the data-driven analytics is just much more powerful right now. Emerging systems like ours upscales the existing staff, no matter what their experience is. They can cover more ground more quickly and more efficiently than before. We're telling them what the problem is. Please go fix that gasket. Please go change that filter. It may be not 6 months since the last time you did it, but this one needs a change, not all 30 freezers that are lined up in a row. Pharmaceutical companies and the world at large realize that with more insights as to the actual condition and performance of their chambers, uptime and efficiency can be maximized, and minimizing risk and certainly minimizing product loss and loss of revenue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, with Pharma 4.0, really is the convergence and acceptance by industry of technologies that were not long ago in their infancy, way back.
AI, IoT, these are new words to all of us. No one has 10, 15 years of experience of that for their resume.
Right. Now we're taking advantage of that. And it's being warmly embraced, and the industry is rapidly realizing the benefits. Overshield is a poster child of this concept since it utilizes those IoT sensors, AI and cloud and cellular connectivity.
Great.
Important.
Yeah, those are very important things. And more frequently, I hear AI coming up in my conversations here on the podcast and in my own work. So it's definitely an emerging technology that's taking the industry by storm.
Mm-hmm.
At Qualio, we provide a quality management platform so companies like Predictive Monitor can navigate the regulatory landscape and how to get to market efficiently. We'd be remiss if we didn't ask a question about quality. How do you approach quality and regulatory alignment at your company? And what systems or philosophies do you put in place to ensure scientific innovation doesn't come at the cost of compliance and consistency?
Well, our background at Massey, we were 9001 certified and ISO 17025 for calibration and testing accredited for at least 20 years. And we did work for GMP companies, pharma, biotech, medical device, all the life sciences companies. But at Predictive Monitor, since that's what we knew, that's our background, we have ISO 9001. We started our journey in July of 23, so we have a relatively immature system. And now we started our ISO 27001 journey last March, and we're aiming to have accreditation for that in 2026. What's interesting is since I looked up your company and I see that you were willing to give me a Qualio score. So I said, well, let's go check that out. So I plugged in my questions, did your 6-minute survey, and our score came out in the okay range. And that says we have gaps. And we knew that, and we're working to build a robust, mature system like we had at Massey. Mm-hmm. So thank you for my okay score.
Yeah.
Okay.
And realizing,
well, hopefully you can prove on that.
Yeah. And Meg, we don't make drugs and products, which is kind of why I got an okay score, because a lot of the things we said No. When we would need
Have
that.
we filed for drug submissions? No.
No.
So I'm sure it's all graded in there, but I was pleased it didn't say, boy, you're really underperforming.
Yeah, there's definitely probably some things in that quiz that are industry specific or depend on what
Yes.
type of product you're providing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, quality is very important to us and the customers we serve, and the industry requires quality.
Totally.
Yep. Overshield is actually an engineering tool and exists really outside the GMP regulatory framework today. Right? But we have come from the GMP world, and we have baked in quality at every aspect of what we do at Predictive Monitor. So we know what it needs. We know what the industry needs. That's what we've done. We've carried over the legacy of a robust QMS and an ISO certification into operations and the software development also. So, which is something really special about what we do.
Yeah. A lot of small companies don't put quality or develop their quality systems this early in their life cycle. And we just knew it had to come over.
Yeah. Coming from those CGMP background, I'm sure it's ingrained in what you do anyways, just from all that background and exposure
Right.
to quality. And I wish you the best of luck with your 27001 certification for information security. We had
Yes.
recently gotten ours a few years ago, so I know
Mhm.
what that journey entails as well.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a lot of paperwork.
Yeah.
It,
But
yes,
it's
it is a lot of controls.
a lot of knowledge transfer.
Mhm.
So it's very, very expensive,
But
very
I
important.
think what we viewed it as, Jen has always thought that things are supposed to be practical and make common sense. And a lot of those principles are things we were doing anyway. We just didn't have them documented. Now, let's be fair, some of them were new, cryptography,
Yeah.
key, etc. That's not in my wheelhouse. But clean desk, clean screen, boy, did that just make sense to us. Of course. So a lot of good common sense stuff in there.
Mhm.
Of course. What have been some of the biggest lessons you've learned on the entrepreneurial side of building Predictive Monitor?
Well, what's funny about that is most people say, "Oh, you built Mossy. This should be a no-brainer for you." And many people would just say, "Oh, this is Mossy too."
So, yeah.
And we can tell you it's a world difference, whether it's the timing, whether it's who we are as people as opposed to who we were. Can't say it's about the staff because so many of them have come over with us. So we think it's the same then. But the products and services are very different. And then everything about it feels very different from my seat.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, back at Massey, we looked at customer request as a major driver for developing the business. And we do that again at Predictive Monitor. But uniquely, we are leveraging the experience we have with several verticals in the past, combined with all that knowledge into one innovative offering. I think this rare background is why we proudly find ourselves in the leading edge of technological advances. Not only do we know the industry needs this at large, but we know they needed this ourselves and developed it organically. Over the years, we used to have a couple of customers a week come over and do an audit of us. And at the end of the audit, they would say, "We want what you have." And Laurie would
I would
say,
say it's not commercially available. Again, it's a lot of hand holding. It's a lot of internal stuff.
"Mhm,
And eventually a customer says that we don't care how manual a process it is. Again, it's better than everything that's out there. We want it. So as we call them, the early adopters.
mhm, yep, we've had it.
And when we sold Mossy, we bought back the technology, the customers, the staff. For us, it was a ready-made business, but it didn't come with a nice 9001 certificate saying we've had this for
We left
20
it back
years.
there.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's painful to me. I've said we've had that for 20 years, and now I'm right back ground zero.
Yeah.
You'll get it back, Laurie. I have no doubt.
We are working at it for sure,
Yes.
but it's certainly different.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, John and Laurie, I have to ask, I've been married 15 years. We do projects around the house together, but my husband and I have never worked together. Does it ever get difficult to work with your spouse every day?
Well, John and I will be married 50 years in 2 days from now.
Oh, congratulations. 50 years
Yeah.
together.
Yes,
That was,
yeah.
we would say that makes us wicked old.
Yeah.
And since we met at 16 in driver's ed, we dated for 4
I think we
years.
got married at 6. Right?
And so, so we're not calculating that time out there.
Yeah.
But John and I actually drive in together and to work at most days. I'm going to say 95% of the time we drive in and we drive home together. And it just gives us time to plan our day. What's going on with you? What's going on with me? Am I in that meeting? Do you need to be in this one? And so it just works for us. But because we know what each other's doing, we're just respectful of each other's workload. The other day, John said, let me take this because I know you're really busy. And I know it was something he didn't want to do. I guess I'll say that I would be addicted to going to estate sales. And we had to drive 3 hours in order to pick up some beautiful tables. And he offered to drive 3 hours by himself to pick them up because he knew I had paperwork I had to get done. And it was very thoughtful.
So we both drove in the end, and we had the whole 7 hours to discuss and a number of topics and plans and stuff like that.
Yeah. But John and I have shared an office the entire time we were at Massey. And in our new business, we have adjoining offices.
Yeah.
So that is a world of difference.
Couldn't both fit in the same office. So.
Well, there's a door between us. So we either keep it open or we shut it, depending if we need each other or not. But it is different not being in the same room. One starts a thought, the other one finishes it. We've been doing that for years.
Yeah. Well, Meg, Laurie is talking about driving in and driving home along with being at work. But most of our coworkers for the last dozens of years, we would kind of comment and said, well, there's also pillow talk before we come to work and pillow talk after work too, just to kind of continue the 20 hours of awakeness.
I think that's part of the difficulty is the shutting it off thing. And at Massey, I'm going to say our entire family worked with us, both of our sons, their wives,
brothers.
Our brothers, their wives. And as we said, a whole bunch of people we didn't give birth to or weren't related to. And at this
nephews,
company,
cousins, godsons, all over. Yes.
In this company, what is even more special is our oldest grandson started working with us, and he happens to share his papa's name. So we were joking one day. We did a trade show. My badge came in, it says CEO. John's badge came in, said CIO. He said, Laurie, nobody knows what it means. I want to spell out Chief Innovation Officer. So we got a new badge that says Chief Innovation Officer. Our grandson was doing an internship with us, and Papa handed him the badge and said, your name's on it. You just have to figure out what CIO stands for. And our grandson Jay looks at me and he said, Laurie, what does it stand for? I said, well, for Papa, it's Chief Innovation Officer. For you, Chief Intern, obviously. So we instantly made him up business cards with our Chief Intern, obviously.
And he's gone to a handful of meetings, seminars,
industry events
from
with us,
PDA, ISPE, what have you, and immediately gets involved and talks to the speakers. And
everybody remembers him because he has Papa's name. And of course, Papa's an icon in the industry, so it's a real easy one.
Yeah.
And then as much as he enjoyed working with us, I'm going to try not to cry here. He said his heart was to serve his country. So he joined the Navy 1 week ago.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Laurie. I hope you won't miss him too much. I hope he was a good intern. And I love that this has turned into such a family business and a labor of love, it seems, for you both. So.
Yep. And our second grandson works with us as well. Bry fits us in around his very busy schedule. So right now, he just got on the JV golf team, and we will again take a back seat.
Yep.
Lovely. Well, congratulations to him on his golf game and to your son, to your other grandson joining the Navy. Looking ahead, what excites you most about the future of your solution and industry?
It's the same message we had at Massey. We're supporting the life sciences industry to protect patients. And at this company, we coined early warnings predict success. And that is a great reason to get out of bed and to come to work every day.
Yep. It's particularly exciting as being at the leading edge of a trend that the industry is still learning exists. and how beneficial.
thought he was going to tell particularly exciting as he continues to work with me, but that's another story.
And and before long, predictive solutions like Overshare will be a GMP requirement. And we'll look back fondly at the time when we helped usher that era of new technology in. Meg, we've done numerous technology
Industry
changes, best practices for decades.
Throughout
From
years.
the validation, from the calibration, from the equipment storage, from the equipment rental, from the pharmaceutical storage facility, and all areas that the best practices. Because when, like I mentioned earlier, when clients come in and they audit us, they go back and say, I like what they do. And all of a sudden you see that practice back at those corporations. So
good stuff.
It is good stuff. We often get audited by our customers as well. And I do like when they have that praise of, ooh, I like that process, or I like how you have that set up. It's always validating that you're doing something right. So
absolutely.
Lovely. My last question is more of a fun one that we ask all of our guests. And I imagine if you work together, live together, that you're probably at the library or the bookstore together. In what section would we find you both?
Different sections.
Different sections. Okay, that's where you'll split up.
We've never been to a bookstore together.
No, Laurie and I think completely opposite. Absolutely, whatever.
That's what makes the partnership work.
Yes.
So I have been to Barnes and Nobles multiple times, and particularly with my sons and my grandchildren. And John will occasionally find a book somewhere else.
Right.
So if you go tell
I guess the more recent favorite, there's a couple of recent. One of them is the Founder's Mentality. And actually that was recommended probably a dozen years ago by Pat Walsh, who was the CEO of Alchemy, who was the acquirer of Masi. And it was a really, really solid book. And it was something that he passes out to all his employees at multiple companies before. And it requires them to read it before they come to before the first day on the job. And it is really, really cool because it is this is what an owner,
the founder thinks differently.
Founder thinks versus somebody else.
People who do the 8 to 5 job.
I mean, even at home, if one of the spouses does all the finance, and the other one doesn't, it's very different, right? So if you share that, and that book, and the other one is Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's just a fantastic, easy reading book that one of our coworkers, 7-year-old, read it and loved it. So,
for me, again, I've been a reader since I started reading at 4. I just love reading all kinds of things. And for my job, I do a lot of technical reading. So when it's time for me to read, I want something totally different. So The Master of the Game by Sidney Sheldon was, I think, the best book I ever read. I just absolutely love it. I also love John Grisham, Dan Brown, Ken Follett. Ken Follett wrote a book called The Third Twin, and I thought it was absolutely fascinating. Kind of an AI experiment.
Well, I have lots of new books to add to my reading list after speaking.
Tell us one of yours then, so we have something to add.
Oh, I think one of the best reads I've read lately, it's probably been a little while, was a biography on Catherine the Great.
Catherine the Great. Okay.
Yeah, Catherine the Great. Just very fascinating, the changes and the impact of the world on Russia at that time, and then looking at it through the lens of today and how much of those things still kind of ring true from that time. It was interesting for me. So
okay, thank you for the tip.
Wow.
Well, Laurie and John, it has been so great chatting with you both. Where can our listeners go if they want to connect with you and follow Predictive Monitor? We're
on LinkedIn, and that's where I think the continuity from our Masi career is there. So all our LinkedIn friends that we've worked with for years, certainly predictivemonitor.com, and email Laurie.Masiello@predictivemonitor.com and John Masiello, John.Masiello@predictivemonitor.com.
And 603 predict. You want to call
no joint email address though yet. Okay. Maybe the next company startup.
Well, years ago, mine used to go to Laurie because she's much more efficient than I am.
I answer way more emails than John does. We're 2 different brains. He always answers the phone. I always answer email.
I think you both complement each other very well, and it's been such a pleasure chatting with you both. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll get those links posted in the show notes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Meg.
Thank you,
We really
Meg.
enjoyed that. And I'm going to look up the Catherine the Great book because it did sound interesting.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. We'll read it together out loud.
Audiobook on your way into work.
Good.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of From Lab to Launch, brought to you by Qualio. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe and give the show a positive review. It really helps us out. For more information about Qualio, our guest today, or to be a guest on a future episode, please refer to the show notes. Until next time.